And I'm going to try another canvas press, because you know me, I am a glutton for punishment. Just kidding. The last ones both came out really nice, so we'll try that again. I was tempted to, and then I found I had actually prepped the canvas for doing that. You prep them differently, because the ones I prepped for regular painting, I can't show you next because I just put paint on this, but they the cling film I put taut across there, and when it's for pressing, I leave it slack so I can press on it. You know, surprisingly. Now, do I not have any sticks in there? Oh, here's one. All right. So this is going to be one I press onto. So I thought I'd just put white on this one, and then I'm going to put the color on the other one. But this will be the one that I pressed into it. I like to have a little, oh, hiya, you, Mert. I like to have a little paint on it because this makes the paint flow better. I didn't have too much of an idea for today, so I'm just going to do another press like I did the last time, those many moons ago. But I really like both those paintings. The other thing I'm going to do after that, hopefully, is work on the second of those. The first one, I actually hardly did anything, and the second one I want to add some more details. All right, so this is going to be the one that I press onto the other one. Well, at least it's got a bit of paint here and there. So I'm just going to set that down there. Hopefully it doesn't have too much paint that's going to come off as it sits there. I don't think so. All right, now this guy here, I'll do something similar. So I'm going to press the 12 by 12 onto a 12 by 16, which will give it a little extra room at one end that will not be, will not have paint. And that can be like, if we want to do a landscape, that can be a sky area. So for this one though, I don't even know. I'm just going to pull paint out and put it places. I really haven't a clue what I'm doing. I'd like to say that's always the ones that come out, but not necessarily. Depends. Sometimes those are the best ones. Sometimes not so much. I think we'll try some dark colors. I wonder if I want to even, you know, I might even do the blower on it, then press it. I mean, you don't typically need to, but I may. I'm really tempted. I'm going to grab some colors. Oh, and apparently a paper towel. Oh, I'm low on this one. I did not realize that. And it wasn't that long ago I actually mixed paint. I am going to have to mix more of that guy for sure. And I wanted to see if I had that pretty one that I like so much. Not sure if it's out. Oh, is that it? That's it. I'm low on that too. You know, no matter how much time I spend mixing paint, always the first couple I pick up had no paint at all. That is so typical. And also could stand to clear out as well. Totally clogged. Pull that off there. Ooh, it comes off. Oh, it was a little clogged and it all came out. Well, that one's going to have a lot of red on one side. That's for sure. I'm not sure what else I'm going to do with this. You can say. Bring that down. Maybe some, oh, some more metallic. Just on one side. And thought, oh, yeah, yeah, it was the color I meant to get, and then, but I forgot, and then I was surprised. Well, there you go, I surprised myself. That's always a good thing. I want to get just a little bit. And then top it off with some more white, I think. And I think first I think I will. Oddly enough, usually when you do a press, you just press it, but I think I'm going to do a little bit of a blow first. What's interesting is that really showed me where I had paint and not paint. I'm just going to bring it along in here. What I might do is just plain put some more paint on the edges before we do the press. And I did not realize I was quite so low on paint there. Oh, thank you. I could see by where it wasn't going, where it doesn't have paint, where it doesn't move. I'd like to put a little orange in there. Got a little of everything today, huh? A little orange, I'll just zip along in there. A little orange in there. I like orange. Orange is a nice color. All right. Let's try the press. Let's try that press now. So what I want to do is I'm going to try and line this up where it's just part of the canvas, the lower part. I'm going to turn it over because this is the one I can press on. Perfectly logical reason then, isn't it? I'm going to go back and forth a couple times on this. I did not, oh hey, Happy New Year! I did not go back and forth. You know, we had, it was weird. People were doing fireworks really early, like 9, but they were closer than usual, so I could actually got a pretty good view out my window, so it was actually kind of pretty. All right, now, what way do we want to pull on this? I think I'm going to pull up like this. That is interesting. I'm going to set this one down here for a second. Wow, I like that. Right now, this guy here, I like that too. I'm tempted to tilt it to get to the edge, but I'm not sure. It's got a little bit going on here in the center that did not get pressed as well as it should, and that would actually fix that. Get this guy here. Get rid of those air bubbles. Wow, that is so tempting. They're both so tempting to do stuff too. I just can't even find it. I like them both, just very different. This guy too. Got a couple big air bubbles in this one. I do want to pop. Let me get some to pop the air bubbles on this one that's on the floor. It's just got a few really big ones. I can smell burning. I can smell burning. Well, there you are. We'll figure it out in a minute. I'm going to pop them early because then the paint still has time to meld around them. They sit there too long. All right, this guy, man. I like that. It's very different. It's got, the paint's a little lighter on this side. But it's got a lot of paint. Look at all that paint. Let's try and just fix, I'm going to try and level out the paint, but not worry too much about what it's doing other than that. So what happened is it looks like on the edges where the stretcher bars were, it did not get quite as much paint. And that's fine, because it's got enough to cover it. It's just not, you know, in the same spots. So let's just cover those edges a bit. And then we'll look at the other one. I'm not sure though. I think I might, oh man. This is a tough one to make the hard decisions on, because there's things I really like about it. But it's not doing much at the moment, but it doesn't mean it's pointless. I'm gonna try. I think I'm gonna leave this section the way it is and try blowing up into this section, but I'm gonna add a little bit more white paint because it's very low on paint in there, I can tell. It's not gonna have enough to get up in there. Let's try that. See if I can move these. I might move all these paints for a second. Then we can turn it the other way. I don't know where to put anything. Put it back in here. That one I should leave out so I remember to mix more, because that was a bit of a shock. White I'll leave out. Always need more white. All right, let's try turning it. And I'm going to see if I want to commit to that idea. You know, I like the negative space there. That is tempting also. Let me just have a little extra filling there. Okay, hang on. Instead of vertically, what if we turn it like that? Or even like, let's try and get that right. Just wanted to even that white out a little bit. Okay, hang around here. Let's turn that back around. I like what that negative space did. Just get over here. Subtlety there. Just not sure about this. I'm just not sure about this center bit, you know. But there's things about this I really like. I know why. Who knows? People like what they like. Tell you what, should we set it aside? It depends. If I'm going to blow on it or something, you want to do that right away. What if I try and blow that center bit that's not working as well? All right, that did not quite do what I thought it was going to do. Let's try and come back the other way then. now my center just looks like a bunch of nothing. Let me try and pour that. Let me try and pour that one way or the other. Let me try a little bit of tilting. See if we can glean something out of this. I'm starting to have an idea of this being like a water area in a landscape, like these are mountains. I really like that negative space, so I don't really want to mess with that. I'm going to try a little bit more. I'm not sure what I just did there. I'm still liking this part over here. Still not sure about this part here. Starting to lose some of my pretty colors. I think it needs something different here. What we could do is just put some of those other colors down there and swipe into them. Yeah, that's what I see too, right here, right? Yeah, same. Let's try and work with that a little bit. Gold. Little thick. I'll try it anyway. I didn't cover as much as that. I got a real thin one. Did that just a couple times. Oops, I'm getting some broke in my white field there. I have to take that back out there. In there. Just try and make it less squared off where the swiper stops. And that looks almost like a big rock over here, really. Smooth that in there a bit. Like a big rock thing there is what I was thinking. A little bit more, so squared off. Get maybe a little bit of light, just a little bit of color in there. right there, but I don't really want. I don't know if I should try and take those little specks out of there that came on there. Yes, I did. I pressed the two canvases together, but they were the same size. These were two different sizes. So this one had a little bit of an overhang that wasn't covered. Oop. Try and just take those out. Oh, boy, that does not want to come out of there. There we go. We have that lovely negative space there, and I really didn't want that to just go away. I've got to feather that more. It's very sharp. Where are we going with that? This is interesting enough. I'm going to set it aside for now because we should look at the other one. Hopefully I won't trip on it. Try and get over there before it trips. Alrighty. Let's set that down there. I'm interested in that, I gotta say. Now this little guy here, this is very typical to how something comes off. If you do a bubble wrap or one of these style pours, how they'll come out is very, very often like this. So let's look at this one for a minute, see if we want to do any tilting or anything. Sorry, my nose picks the worst time to itch. All right. Now, I've done some interesting things with these. I've done like mountain scenes and lake scenes and stuff with this sort of thing. I just want to look at it for a minute and see if I want to do anything else. Might give it a little tilt. I don't know how long it's been sitting there. I don't know if anything will still move or not. Not much, let me tell you. That is pretty much the way it is. It might be the paint's not quite as thick either. We didn't quite get enough paint coverage. If you can see here on this corner, you can see where the canvas is coming through. Could add some more in there. Could do something else entirely. I'm not real happy with this corner, basically. That red bit isn't really working for me. So what do I want to do with it? Boy, not one. This is very economical paint-wise. It does. It often does. When you do this technique, you don't get a lot. You pour off the canvas, so there's not a lot extra. I said there's not quite enough paint here, I think, or here. And the center is okay, but again, it's not that interesting to me. It's neither one thing or the other. I think the other one had a lot of paint, and you'd think it would be this one that had all the... This is the one I piled the paint on. I pressed it against the other one. Well, yeah, that's just not moving at all. So if we want to add more paint, we're going to have to actually add more paint. Now this, again, I can kind of see something here. What I might do, these look like rocks to me. That could almost be either water or a valley of some kind down in here. This is a strange bit here. That could be turned into a tree or a temple or something else. I don't like I said, this huge splodge of red that just didn't do anything. Let's see if that will work with that. If it moves at all. Moves a bit. Yeah, boy, it did run out of paint there. Ran out of steam in the end there. looks a lot better though, gotta say. That's like just a big red splotch. And this here, I don't know what happened there. Strange thing. This, I mean, you can kind of see almost like layers of mist in this leading up to here. And then from there it becomes sort of like a sky sort of thing. But you could change it to that easy enough. I'm wondering if you could, like after this dries, if you looked at these like layers of mist, you could add some trees coming up through those layers of mist. That might be pretty. I said, I'm not minding this part right here. Gosh, I'm just not sure. Not sure that that's working or not working. I wish it had enough paint that I could have tilted it a little bit. I could add on more paint and do some blowing on it. Like make this sort of a sky or even a slide. It's got some pretty things. Try that lower down. I'm not sure I can do anything with that. I'm still left with, why is there a big thing of red there in that corner? It looks very strange. I hate to give up on this. It's got some pretty things in it. I mean, this is really kind of intriguing to me. I suppose not everything has to have a purpose. It could just be intriguing. I'd like to get a little bit more paint there in that corner, but I'm wondering if I want to do something else. It is indeed. That's okay though. I wanted to just, you know, come out here and I have some plans for things to work on after, but for the pour I kind of didn't want to plan. Again, these look like, even, I'm looking now at what you're seeing because sometimes that helps me if I look at I look at it from a different perspective. I still really like the idea of these being rocks here in the foreground. So then that could be a valley leading back. That could almost be the beginning of a waterfall coming down there. Of course, you could do all kinds of things with that red, really. You could turn it into a tree or do all sorts of weird stuff. We could just put some more paint on the edge here and try and do something with it. Man, I'm just going to stare at it. It's just, this seems like it's pretty, but it's so much space between this interesting part, you know, going up. It just sort of, it kind of just lies there for a bit. So I think we might want to take that out. I'm more and more thinking that we want to take it out. We can do that either by swiping, or we can blow on it, or we could even press something else up against it. Put more paint down and put a sheet of plastic or something and pull up from there if we want to stick with the pressing. Let's try, I'm going to add a little bit more white back in here. Especially, there's not enough paint there. There's just not. So that's almost a no-brainer. Let's bring that down to maybe here. Probably doesn't have enough there either, I'm going to suspect. Let's try that. Swiping a blank. Let's swipe first. Pull those swipers out. That's just a little swiper. I had a bigger swiper. You know, even that's kind of interesting. I've got to say, I just was mixing the white in, but now it looks like kind of a pretty sky. Well, shoot, no, I'm not sure what, I was just going to do that, then put the blower on it, but that was kind of pretty. Now I'm not sure I want to. Let's try a little bit of tilting at this point. Let's see what we think, because we should have plenty of white on there. And get some of this, just get it nice and covered here on this side. It's missing it right here. This doesn't want to flow over there. It's going to touch it and then I'm going to go back to tilting it. Yeah, I gotta say, I am inclined to leave that kind of as is for that part. That is really pretty to me now. I'm not sure I quite like the shape of this this red. It's such a sort of a ledge. It looked a little bit more like a mountain thing. It'd be nice to have a little more paint there on the side. I'd like to almost bring that right down there just a bit. This needs a little bit more paint here on the side. Let's see what kind of paint I've got here. If I can just shimmy some in there and then sort of mix it in there in some meaningful manner. We'll try that. Let's try that. I'm going to swipe that as opposed to what I just did, but in that little swiper here, I picked it up by mistake when I wanted the bigger one. Now I want the little one, and that's what I did with that. Oh, there it is. Now I'll try and mix a little more. Oh, yeah, no, there's another mix in there. Mix that in with that, but it doesn't want to. That's okay. A lot of times we don't want to do things. Let's try putting that in there. Good deal more paint in there. A little bit of orange. I was trying to patch in some more paint because there's nothing there. Nothing at all. It is bone dry. Okay, then let's try the blow again. Unfortunately, that color just does not work. I don't like that color in there at all. I'm going to try and add something else in. And just some darker colors, some purple or something again. Where's that? Try and add something in there that's a little different. It sure is being difficult. So just like when I was working with that red and it was being so difficult, it's like that. I'm going to put that loose one back. I'm just going to keep hiding that from myself until I lose it all together. Oh, those are very fine sprinkles. Not fine. Since they're here, I'm just using. Oh, there it was. In front of my nose. Now I got that in there. Let's see if we can. Oh, actually, I think I'm going to use a straw. Where is one? I didn't because they did them early. So why would I stay up? Usually there's some going off at midnight and the noise wakes me up, but my neighbors did them, like I said, around 9 p.m. So I went and watched them, and then I kept expecting they'd wake me up, but they didn't do anything. Apparently it must not have been a very festive New Year for people, which, you know, was fine with me. I know it's really rough on the people that have dogs, you know, the fireworks. It scares the cats too, you know, but not as much as it scares dogs. There's a funny sort of thing there. What's that weird thing? Oh, there's a funny sort of thing. I don't know what that is. Maybe a bit of schmutz in the paint, not sure. Just try and smooth it out a little bit. That can stay, I guess. Kind of an odd thing, but it can stay there. This,